This is a interesting little chapter, scarcity and private enterprise. So let's see, unlimited wants, needs combined with limited resources result in scarcity. You know what teaches that perfectly? This. When something is scarce, there is not much of it, and that's not really the case. You see these all over the place. Bruh, we got a great view from our window of all of the trash that's accumulated from the wind blowing it. And then you have like this little river here, and it ends up here. It flows downstream. Yeah, there's a lot of water being consumed, plastic bottles. But let's create a scenario where this is scarce. Let's say that you just had an intense gym period. I know these people are not moving, but just use your imagination. You are all sweated up, thirsty, and the water goes out. Suddenly, you can't push the water fountain and drink from the water fountain. Like, you are so thirsty that you are pondering drinking from the stream out back where all of the water bottles are. But the water going out? Oh, that was no accident that suddenly Hempstead High School can't get any drinking water from the usual sources, vending machines, pipes, water fountains. You know what I mean. It was intentional. And then you see this guy. Yeah, hi, I just broke onto campus to sell water bottles. I also took down the pipes myself because I knew money, that there would be demand, money, and there's just a limited supply. There's just this one bottle. Wait a second, let's roll it back. So let's see, unlimited wants, needs combined with limited resources result in scarcity. That is the textbook definition of inflation right there. The prices of this water bottle under this scenario would go up, and you would be trading paper for water. Why would it go up? There would be multiple people bidding for a product that is in extreme demand. Remember, you're coming from gym class. There is one water bottle left on campus. You're going to be bidding. A lot of people are going to be bidding. Prices go up. Now, the chapter goes on to say scarcity is the basic economic problem. Because of scarcity, choices must be made. How will limited resources be used to satisfy people's unlimited wants and needs? So the textbook goes on to compare different types of economies and the choices that are made. Controlled economy, mixed economy versus free economy. Now, you understand what it's like to shop in a free economy. You shop in America, you live in America, so we're not going to go over that. That's what it is. China is somewhere in between. It is a mixed economy. The government has a lot of say in it, but there's also the influence of capitalism. Capitalism does exist mixed with the Chinese authority from the government, and that's where you get the term mixed economy from. What we're going to highlight today is a controlled economy. We're going to take a look at North Korea.
We don't really know what life is like inside North Korea. We do know that it's ruled by this guy. We know that it's the subject of numerous insane rumors, and we know that the sealed borders prevent us from learning much of anything else. But one thing that is becoming a little bit more clear is the state of the Hermit Kingdom's economy, one that may have been built on the backs of smugglers and the black market.
Think of the concept of smugglers. They're bringing stuff in so that people can make choices for themselves because the government dictates what is available.
For the most part, the economy in North Korea is run by the government. That includes imports, exports, and manufacturing. In fact, private trade is illegal, but that doesn't stop it from happening. Over the last couple of decades, North Koreans have developed a gray market, or an informal economy, one that's not monitored, controlled, or taxed by the government. And according to one North Korea expert, its success can be partially attributed to Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un policy is remarkably friendly towards the private businesses, because his father was uncertain. He oscillated from toleration of the private economy to occasional support of the private economy, and then back to attempts to eradicate private economy. Kim Jong-un's policy is different. It's a quite tacit approval and encouragement and support of the private economic activities.
And if that's true, if Kim Jong-un really does support more private business, then this is big news. Sure, he still might rule the country with Dark Age tactics, like using executions as a means to flex his power, but he is North Korea's first leader in a long time to support an economic system that even slightly resembles a free market.
They're spinning this that he tolerates a free market in North Korea. Just remember, he can crush that at will.
But it's not just Kim Jong-un who's helping the North Korean economy. The gray market has origins in a flourishing black market, one that was brought upon by a devastating famine in the mid-1990s. Back then, the government had a public distribution system that gave out food to its citizens based on political affiliation and loyalty. The famine collapsed this system and forced citizens to fend for themselves. Insert black market here. North Korean leadership knew that they had to either look the other way or see their people starve. But the black market soon grew past its origins and became a place for goods that were illegal or unavailable. This is Kim Danby, a North Korean defector who started working in the black market at the age of 13, helping smuggle in items from China.
The products I usually smuggled were the ones that everyone can use. I would illegally import electronic goods like television sets, refrigerators, rice cookers. I also smuggled cosmetics, face masks, and clothes that women like, and even needles and hair extensions.
This was the groundwork for today's North Korean gray market, which in turn may be laying the groundwork for an actual private sector. This is an economy that went from Kim Jong-il parceling out meager food rations to the opening of a department store in Pyongyang in 2010, shelves stocked high with imported goods priced only in US dollars.
Literally every command economy has failed in the history of the world. Think of the logistics that have to happen. Like, let's say just the farming sector. You have to decide who's going to become a farmer, who distributes the goods to the people, and how much they get. That's extremely difficult.
No one knows for sure where North Korea's economy will go from here, but they seem to be tiptoeing towards a free market, which could ultimately lead to looser borders. But for now, those borders remain very much closed. The country is still cloaked in wild rumors, and this guy is still in charge. Yes, he may support the gray economy, and yes, he may be more economically progressive than his father or grandfather, but he is still an unpredictable leader who may have just executed a military general for falling asleep in a meeting. So really, who can tell what lies ahead for North Korea, its economy, or its people?
Now, the last video really looked at North Korea and kind of spun it that it is modernizing, and that seems to be true. But we're talking about products available to people. But this is a marketing class, and you might have heard of propaganda. No, really, read the words. The gentleman that you saw in the video was the previous leader of North Korea. His name was Kim Jong-il, and he's the father of the current leader, Kim Jong-un. After seeing that propaganda video, you might understand that There's no questioning the supreme leader. Like, you will get shot, or worse, you will get killed. And that's a conflict of interest with advertising, with marketing. State television controls what people see. The schools in North Korea, you better believe they're pro-supreme leader. You're going to remember this.
Kim Jong-il's reign in North Korea ended with this massive and tearful display of official mourning. The great successor was his youngest son, Kim Jong-un, then in his mid-20s. A new generation, it was hoped, but so far the same outlook: hostility towards the outside world, especially South Korea and the United States. And with the world's fourth largest army, North Korea continues its military-first policy. Perhaps the most important message this regime is trying to send at home and abroad is that this new leader is adored by his people. The young Kim's leadership is constantly reinforced by a lavish state media. Videos like this one show an army officer wiping his eyes, overcome with emotion, as Kim Jong-un speaks personally to him. Even the television announcer is emotional, as she proclaims this to be a historic moment for these soldiers. And recently, the regime has ratcheted up the propaganda, just as it's ratcheted up its threats. And this is how a cult of personality is born and nurtured. We see soldiers and their families at a military outpost running to greet Kim Jong-un. He hugs and kisses the little children who surround him. The crowds in front of the camera grow, and when they gather to say goodbye, many are seen openly weeping. And then, as Kim boards his boat to leave, soldiers ran frantically down the beach to say goodbye to their leader, even plunging into the icy water in their uniforms to show how much they adore him. He waves benignly and gestures paternally for them to go back to dry land. As the boat pulls away, the announcer says their leader has confidence that he can win a war against American soldiers. And that's a theme that continues to play out on North Korean television these days. As it has always been in North Korea, a Kim is everywhere. Poring over maps with his generals, scoping out possible targets, even taking up arms himself. Here, Kim visits with smiling troops who perform a song and dance routine for him. And he tells them to train hard, because war could happen at any time. The announcer says we will wipe out our enemies so they cannot survive. The regime is determined to show that North Korea is strong and ready to fight, even if it comes down to hand-to-hand combat. North Korean television showcases the might of the military and the weapons, including these tanks and missiles that were shown just today. But nobody really knows how many of these were set up, how many were photoshopped, even if these missiles are real. But the message is clear. North Korea and Kim Jong-un are trying to show the world that they're on top and ready for anything. Christiana Wanpour, CNN, New York.
All right, so to finish this lesson, you have about 13 questions here. These 13 questions are directly related to the video, but you also have an article, Brands and Marketing in Kim Jong-un's Realm. I want you to read this article and reflect on the question. Read the article for lesson 33 and write a short reflection below. Show that you understand the differences in culture and government and speak on the challenges of selling a product and marketing it in North Korea. Is selling or marketing even possible? Question mark.